Opening credits. Tiger Mated. Shifter Paranormal Romance. By Selena Coffey. Auto-narrated using Google technology. Chapter 1. Okay, I'm here in one piece, there is no need to fuss. I'm completely fine and safe. I'll call regularly and keep in touch. Yes, Rob. Yes. Okay. I have to go. I love you too. Speak soon. Bye. Lucy hung up the phone, sighing, glad to be away from England, her father, and her irritatingly dull boyfriend. Why am I still with him? An exasperated Lucy asked her guide, who had politely pretended he was not listening to her awkward exchange. What we have just doesn't excite me anymore. I don't even know if it did in the first place. How are we together? I don't know what to do, she continued, more to herself this time. In spite of her previous outburst, deep down, Lucy knew why she was with Rob. He was the kind of man she was expected to marry one day. Very middle class and highly educated, her suburban parents thought he was perfect for her. They were the kind of people that valued social status and money highly. Rob enjoyed lunches or golfing trips with Lucy's father on a regular basis, which only served to make her father like Lucy more in turn. His father felt Rob was like the son he never had, and made that perfectly clear to Lucy, his only child. She thought she had come to terms with that now, but it was difficult growing up. She hated knowing that she could be clever, athletic, witty, and independent, but it was never good enough because she was female. Suddenly, Lucy stopped dead in her tracks, self-pity and resentment giving way to dumbstruck awe. Before her was the most amazing view she had ever seen. It presented with utter tranquility. Directly in front stood cloud-topped mountains, elegantly meeting serene blue lakes in a scene so peaceful she could hear only the sound of breathing. If she gained nothing else from her time in Bhutan, this view alone was worth the long journey. She felt she would have been far less irritable when traveling if she'd have known about this stunning scene. The clouds were turning brilliant shades of pink and orange as the scorching sun set. It was the most incredible thing she had ever seen. The uncomfortable flights and lengthy airport waits were entirely worth it. She was in the presence of perfection. Her guide Damcho laughed at her. He had seen the expression currently on her face before, with other travelers and the occasional scientist. She was sure everyone who came here was rendered speechless, astounded by the sights ahead. He stood back as she fumbled around for her camera, determined to capture the scenery. She couldn't miss the opportunity. It was gorgeous. Don't bother, he advised. No camera could ever do this justice. She ignored his words and tried anyway, a cry of disappointment leaving her voluptuous lips as she realized he was right. Meanwhile, Damcho assessed Lucy. She seemed much younger than any other visitor he met before. He regularly escorted people down the dangerous terrain, leading the way on paths he could navigate whilst blind. She could not be more than 21 or 22 perhaps. He studied her body language carefully. At her age, girls were normally fragile and insecure. Lucy, however, seemed tough and resolute, carrying her heavy rucksack uncomplainingly. He assessed her feminine yet strong figure. This girl can look after herself, he decided. Lucy reminded him of his wife. Her independence was why he loved and respected her. He was eager to get home to his family. Lucy was lost in her own thoughts, unaware she had just earned Damcho's unspoken approval. Her mind in England, thinking about what she was waiting for her. Rob didn't want her to go. He thought women should stay at home like both their mothers. His antiquated views were one of the many things about Rob that irked Lucy, but they remained together because it was easier than going through the motions of a breakup. Their families would be more upset than she would. She was certain it would be the same for Rob. She didn't think he cared. She couldn't really tell either way. He was so dull that his words all sounded the same. She had never heard passion in his voice. Oh bother, exclaimed Lucy. Her dark glossy locks had come loose from the pin she'd put in her hair to secure it in place. Why had she come here, to Bhutan? Was it to escape, or to know there was more to life and the world than England? Lucy wasn't sure. All she knew was she was excited. the Aboriginal Monpa peoples of Bhutan were virtually unstudied. Located in Asia near the Himalayas, Bhutan did not generate the same level of anthropological interest as Egypt, for example. At such a young age, perhaps she would be considered a leading researcher in this field. Her 3 years at university had inspired her to learn more about other cultures, following her dream of becoming an anthropologist. She was going to achieve her dream in stunning fashion. Her heart swelled with pride at the thought, and she continued to follow Damcho to her dwellings for the coming weeks. We are nearly there. You'll meet the rest of your group soon. There is another group coming in a few days too, I believe. You will have lots of people to get to know. This is your home for now. Thank you for escorting me, Damcho. That view was incredible. What a way to be welcomed to Bhutan, Lucy smiled. You are welcome. I am going to see my family tonight, but I will be back tomorrow to show you around the local area. I would like to show you safe places to roam and study. Some villagers do not like visitors, so please take my warning. Tonight you will be fine here, as long as you don't roam. Please don't worry. Thank you again. I promise I won't go wandering. But before you go, is there anywhere I could please wash or bathe? Damcho smiled. Yes, certainly. If you have your wash things ready, please follow me. He led the way to some leafy bushes, pushing them apart. You will have some privacy here. The rustling of bushes should be enough warning if you think someone is coming. This is perfect, Lucy exclaimed. She was excited to scrub the grime and sweat from her aching body. Have a restful evening. Please don't stray, it's very important, Damcho warned. I promise I won't. See you tomorrow, have a lovely night. Thank you for everything, Lucy replied. With that, Damcho turned and walked back through the bushes. She was grateful for Damcho. Without him, she would have been lost, but she was also grateful to have some time alone. Lucy decided to bathe immediately before returning to camp. She just couldn't wait. Hesitantly, she removed her boots and socks, listening intently for an intruder through the bushes. Finally satisfied she was alone, she undressed, sliding noiselessly into the cool lake. It was so soothing on her hot body. Despite her exhaustion, she paddled around for what seemed like hours, enjoying the sensation of the water washing over her. When she tired of swimming, she pulled herself out of the lake, lying on the edge on her towel. The relaxing swim had calmed her earlier paranoia of intruders. Instead of dressing, she happily lay,
censored,
allowing the warm, balmy air dry her tanned skin. As she lay down, she thought about home, about the future, and really began to assess herself. Looking objectively at her own life, she knew there were some things she liked and some she disliked. She liked that the years of sports and father-pleasing athleticism had left her with a toned, fit body, perpetually
censored
from outdoor pursuits. She liked her education and was very proud of her academic successes. She loved her mother, short, plump, and wonderfully kind-hearted, who doted on Lucy and her father. Her mind slowly turned to her father, and her high spirits dampened slightly. She knew he loved her. She knew that he'd silently be proud that she'd embarked on this journey, yet he would never tell her so. He was a man that only spoke when necessary. Lucy could not remember having lengthy discussions or him talking for the sake of it. He was a man that did not believe in wasting words, and that extended to praising his only child. Despite Lucy knowing everything about his quiet pride and lack of words, it did not stop the hurt and pain she felt. She lay there on the edge of the lake and allowed herself to weep. Feelings she had suppressed for so long flowed freely from the tears in her eyes. Feeling the exhaustion more than ever, Lucy closed her eyes just for a moment, and quickly fell asleep, still
censored.
The next morning, Lucy awoke dazed and confused. Where was she? Looking down with a yelp, she realized she was completely
censored.
Scrambling around to put some clothes on, she remembered she was in Bhutan on a research trip and her spirits soared once more. Feeling hungry, she grabbed a t-shirt and clambered through the bushes, ready to meet the other campers and hopefully new friends. As she entered the camp, her nose caught whiff of something cooking. Eggs. She quickened her speed to the location of the wonderful aroma. Hi. Lucy shouted at nobody in particular. I'm Lucy. The replies were jumbled, some enthusiastic, others less so. Kevin, nice to meet you. Charlie. Heather. Hi, I'm Lucas. Hi, I'm Damcho. Damcho's eyes twinkled as he laughed at Lucy's surprise. Good morning, Damcho. I didn't see you there. I didn't forget your name, I promise. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to meet you all. Good morning, Lucy. How was your sleep? Your new friends tell me you didn't sleep in your bed. Are you okay? Lucy blushed, waves of crimson making its way up her slender neck. I had a wash, and then I fell asleep by the lake. Sorry if I worried anyone. Damcho took pity on Lucy. He could see how embarrassed she was. No, you're fine. It's good you can sleep anywhere. These bunks aren't too comfortable. Lucy smiled gratefully. It seemed nobody had seen her at the lake, thank goodness. What's the plan for today, Damcho? Well, there's been a small change of plan actually, Damcho frowned. The other group that is coming didn't want to sleep outside. So they are paying rent to stay in small barns and outhouses about a mile away. As they would have been staying with you, they decided to invite this group too. We're packing up, ready to move site. As the others pack clothes back up, please eat some breakfast. When you're done, you can help with the bunks and then I'll show you the boundaries. Remember I said not to wander? Lucy remembered his warning last night and nodded. She eagerly grabbed a plate and helped herself to some eggs. They were delicious. The others laughed at her enthusiasm and continued to pack their items. Lucy figured she'd get to know them on the walk, especially as they'd all be there together for a while. As she ate, Lucy wondered why the second group didn't want to sleep outside. The air was clean and fresh, the views were stunning, and it was so peaceful and lovely. Although she had only been in Bhutan for one day, she felt as if she could stay forever. She supposed that some people might not like being so close to nature. It could be the mosquitoes and other insects that stopped people wanting to stay here, perhaps? Lucy wasn't frightened or bothered by creepy crawlies. As she understood it, they were part of nature too. As well as studying, she was excited to see what kinds of animals that were here. She'd read excitedly that Bhutan had a tiger population and was desperate to see one in its natural habitat. After washing her bowl out, Lucy went to join the rest of the group, helping to dismantle bunks and roll up sleeping bags. She liked pitching in to help and enjoyed the chit-chat, getting to know Charlie and Lucas. Charlie was around 30, and a pocket rocket of enthusiasm. She and Lucas made an entertaining duo, and had Lucy rolling on the floor laughing within minutes. Kevin, although not as loud and confident as Lucas, was lovely, helping Lucy with the packing and moving. He seemed very kind, advising her on sun cream and making sure she had enough water in her canteen. Heather, however, seemed quiet. Lucy tried talking with her, but Heather wasn't interested, preferring to spend time alone. Heather didn't seem to laugh at Lucas and Charlie's antics either. Well, Lucy thought she seems quite dull. Probably perfect for Rob. Soon it was time for lunch, and they had a delicious fruit platter brought to them by Damcho. So why are there such strict boundaries? Asked Lucy. She had been conscious not to leave the camp all morning and was desperate to explore. Bhutan is an ancient kingdom. Damcho replied between mouthfuls of fruit. There are few people that come here, and only a tiny population. There are strict rules about entering. For example, you can only land a plane here between the hours of sunrise and sunset. This is due in part to the mountains, but also to control tourism in an unsullied part of the world. Some villagers are incredibly hostile to outsiders. Although I appreciate the need for diversity, I learned English to guide people here. Not everyone has the same view. There are some wonderful people who would do anything for their neighbor, but don't like new people. Damcho paused. I don't want to paint a bad image, we are all good people. I just feel a responsibility to tell you all the risks. Lucy sensed it was hard for Damcho to have said these words. She knew he would feel like he betrayed his community. Thank you for warning us. I agree that there must be wonderful people here. The chances of that happening are so slim. Especially with such a fantastic guide. Damcho blushed at the compliment. It was nice to be appreciated and know he was doing a good job. Thank you, Lucy. Now, shall I show you the boundaries? Yes, please, I can't wait to look around. Lucy and Damcho went for a walk. The others, already given this tour, wanted to bathe before setting off. Damcho pointed out many beautiful plants and trees. Soon, they came to some purple flowers. I planted these, Lucy. I wanted a way to mark safe places without damaging the environment. You must not cross these flowers. Lucy stared at the flowers, committing them to memory. Then she pointed at a small collection of houses. What's that? She asked. That is where I live with my family, Damcho said. I'm sorry it's not possible for you to come and visit. Sometimes I find it hard to work. I love meeting new people, but some live there that are angry at what I do. Shall we turn back now? As long as you don't pass the purple flowers, you will be fine. Yes, please. Thank you for showing me. Your village is beautiful. The pair walked back together, Lucy feeling sorry for Damcho's situation. She could see he was a good man, who just wanted to provide for his family. They arrived back at camp, Lucy's feelings becoming lost in the chatter and excitement of the impending move. Chapter 2. The group soon left camp, excited to meet some more people. Lucy discovered that everyone was there to study different things. Kevin was interested in wildlife, keen to learn and study the habitats of various insects. Lucas had a great interest in the Himalayas but was scared of heights, which made the others laugh. Instead of climbing mountains, he visited places the mountains touched and were based. Charlie was traveling. She wanted to go where none of her friends had been. Although she was amazed at how small and connected the world was now, she said she hated going to a new country just to have someone tell her where to visit or what to do. She liked exploring with a totally fresh and open mind. Lucy respected Charlie's views and laughed at her expressive face as she was talking. Charlie was so refreshingly different to the limited and narrow-minded people she knew from home. Lucy knew she and Charlie would get on very well. Heather was here to study tigers. She, like Lucy, read about the tiger population of Bhutan and was desperate to see them up close, although Lucy privately doubted whether Heather was brave enough. The new friends arrived at their accommodation. Kevin made everyone giggle immediately. To his dismay, he wasn't allowed to sleep outside near all of the insects. Lucy and Charlie grabbed beds next to each other, throwing their bags down with excitement. Heather and Lucas brought up the rear. Lucas was admiring the spectacular views, and Heather had been struggling with the weight of her rucksack. She seemed to have half a supermarket aisle in there, with enough tea bags for an entire population. The group was in the middle of unpacking when a smooth, deep male voice said, "Aren't you going to introduce yourselves?" At the deep, attractive voice, the girls spun round immediately. Less interested in the new appearance, the boys turned slightly slower. Before them was an incredibly gorgeous man. Well over 6 feet tall, he had broad shoulders and visibly powerful arms and legs. His entire body seemed carved from sinewy, lean muscle, which was an easy assessment to make, as he was in only a pair of shorts and a vest. Reluctantly pulling her eyes away from his perfect washboard stomach, Lucy saw the man had the most striking green eyes she had ever seen. They seemed to shine and sparkle like no eyes she had seen before, reminding her of fine emeralds and diamonds. He smiled, running his fingers through his dark red hair, knowing the girls were checking him out. When he smiled, Lucy noted his teeth were perfectly pearly white, his canine teeth perhaps sharper than the average grin. "Hi, I'm Lucy and this is Charlie," Lucy said, as Charlie bounced forward to shake his hand. "What's your name? Are you from the other group? When did you get here? Are there many of you?" "Whoa, hold all the questions, Lucy. I'm Philip, 30-year-old Sagittarius. My favorite color is blue. I like eating seafood and traveling, dislike vinegar and standing in queues," Philip teased. "Now, what were your other questions? I lost track." Kevin and Lucas laughed with Charlie, as Lucy looked momentarily embarrassed, despite her ear-splitting grin. Heather wasn't there. She must have already gone for a walk. "All joking aside, yes, I am with the other group. We just got here, and I wanted to say hello and introduce myself. There are 5 others besides me in the other building. I wondered if anyone wanted to come for a hike. I'd love some company." Lucy readily agreed. She was desperate to explore the area and she could always unpack later. She couldn't wait to see what was out there. The others decided to settle in and left Lucy to go with Philip. Nobody from Philip's group wanted to come either, it transpired, so the pair went alone. As they walked, they talked of other cultures. Lucy was impressed at his knowledge of other societies that did not stop at one continent. Most anthropologists specialized in one area, but he was comfortable talking about Mayan culture, the Dabeli tribe, and much more. It was as though he had lived their cultures, rather than just reading about them. Lucy felt intimidated at his vast knowledge at first, but he soon put her at ease, telling her all about tigers. She learnt that around here, there would be Bengal tigers, the male paw being bigger in relation to its body than the female. She learnt to tell the difference with ease, and made a mental note to talk about them with Heather later. She wondered why he was so interested in tigers. He claimed he was here to study the Mampa people like her, but he seemed to know an awful lot about the wildlife. Still, Lucy reasoned, she thought tigers were beautiful, and hearing the information from him was interesting. She pushed the question from her mind, and thought no more of it. Soon, Lucy met with Philip every morning for a hike before breakfast. He contained his amusement as she unconsciously tried to be in front, to walk faster and climb the rockiest terrain possible. He wanted to know why she was this way, why she pushed herself so hard and was so competitive. He didn't want to pry too much though. After all, he had secrets of his own he didn't want to reveal. Instead, he tried to pick up clues from her in conversation, silently storing everything he gathered in his brain. As Lucy spent so much time leading the way during their hikes, Philip had several fantastic opportunities to check her out. He often ran an appreciative eye over her figure when she wasn't looking, and admired her independence and grit. He soon learned that she was not an emotional girly girl in the slightest. She cradled enormous spiders and shared the dirtiest jokes. She was thoughtful too, always on the lookout for things she could take back to make the others smile. They were lucky to have her. He was thankful she was on this trip too. The people in his group were terribly boring, and he struggled to talk to them. He struggled to talk to anyone the way he spoke to Lucy. He really valued their friendship and time together. They spent time laughing at the blossoming romance between Charlie and Lucas. They seemed perfect together in every way, and complemented each other very well. Charlie was tiny, bouncy, and loud. Lucas was tall, funny, and clumsy. They made a great pair, and a great conversation starter. Philip asked every morning if he'd missed anything funny from the night before. She never said so, but Lucy was also grateful Philip was there. He was a great conversationalist and was interested in her work, asking thoughtful questions about her degree and her plans for the future. He didn't just nod vacantly at the answers either. He responded with insightful comments or observations from his own experiences. Lucy found Philip physically attractive, but she was aware he knew it. She only ever eyed his lean muscles when he wasn't looking, for fear of flattering his ego further. She liked his experience with anthropology the most. She felt able to ask him questions of things she was unsure of. It seemed he had lived almost everywhere, and he didn't make her feel silly for not knowing. He praised her curiosity and interest in learning about other ways of life. She learned he was incredibly wealthy from a large share of inheritance he received, which enabled his trips around the world. As she had grown up comfortably, his money didn't interest or bother her in the slightest, which he found refreshing. They both saw money as an unfortunate necessity, needing it to get by, but not going out of their way to earn it. It made perfect sense to her that he had spent as much time as possible traveling. She would love to be able to do the same, and intended to stay away from England for as long as possible. She liked passing on his knowledge to her new roommates. She told Charlie of unexplored lands he mentioned, places he had never been but heard of, all with low levels of tourism. Charlie loved this information and used it to plan the rest of her travels, hinting to Lucas that he ought to accompany her. Lucy brought rocks back from her hikes in the mountains, trying to tempt Lucas into joining her, although he never said yes. Lucy photographed interesting insects and spiders for Kevin to use in his research, giggling when he flicked through his camera to find her grinning, holding an enormous tarantula. Every day she would come back with an update for Heather. All Heather cared about was if Lucy had seen a tiger yet. Lucy had not, and Heather spent a large portion of the day sat in her bed, reading. The rest of the group was beginning to become worried about her. They wanted her to have an amazing trip, and not just visit Bhutan to read books. Lucy's favorite activity by far was bathing in the lake. Bathing and washing had always been incredibly relaxing for Lucy, and it became her routine after breakfast each morning to walk back to their original camp and bathe in her spot. She loved the privacy and the view, relishing her daily dip. With each day that passed, Lucy forgot a little more of home. She didn't realize that the last time she spoke to Rob or her family was the day she arrived, her focus no longer on England, but on beautiful Bhutan. Lucy drew sketches in the afternoon and pored over maps, trying to work out why villages had sprung up where they did. She loved figuring out details like this, and felt a sense of satisfaction when she learned something new. She worked for many hours making notes, sketching and taking photos, wishing desperately she could go to a Mampa village. Damcho took pity on her, and sometimes sneaked things out for her to photograph and document. She had seen some fascinating hunting equipment and loved to see it in action, instead settling for documenting everything on camera. Damcho was a fascinating man, and he told her stories of growing up in Bhutan. She complimented his English. Although he worked as a tour guide, he was the only one for miles, as the tourism industry in Bhutan was almost non-existent. Lucy was incredibly grateful to Damcho for everything he had done for her and the group. It was thanks to him that they all felt so comfortable and safe. The purple flowers were a strike of genius. They were not offensive or permanent, and did not damage the beautiful natural habitats of Bhutan. She could not believe she was learning and having so much fun doing it. Being in Bhutan was Lucy's idea of heaven on earth. Chapter 3. One morning when the Lucy, Charlie, Lucas and Kevin awoke, Heather was missing. Kevin was particularly worried. He had now become the father of the group, always checking or fussing over something, wanting them all to be safe and happy. "I'm sure she'll be fine," Charlie reassured him. "She spent a lot of time inside since we got here. It's good for her to have gotten some fresh air. I bet she'll be back soon, and everything will be right as rain." Almost instantly, Heather walked into their room as if summoned by the mention of her name. "Look at the wild flowers I picked, aren't they lovely?" she said, showing off the bouquet in her hands. "I went for a walk today, because I just needed to get out. I'm sorry if I've worried anyone. I thought I'd be back before you all woke up. These flowers have really brightened me up, they're just so gorgeous." The others were quick to agree. They had felt she was perhaps homesick, so wanted her to keep the happy mood the flowers had given her. All of them were relieved she was safely back. Suddenly, Lucy spotted flashes of purple in with the flowers. "Wait a minute, aren't those Damcho's flowers? The boundary markers?" she shrieked. Heather faltered, not knowing how to reply. "I thought Damcho's flowers were more of a blue. It's been so long since I saw them. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm sure we'll all be fine. I don't think I went too far." Lucy rolled her eyes, instantly regretting it as Heather burst into tears. Sometimes she forgot that she was perhaps less outwardly emotional than other girls. She felt bad for upsetting Heather, but she was also furious that someone could be so stupid and inconsiderate. How could she forget what they looked like? Those flowers were their safety net. "Heather, it's fine. Please stop crying," Lucy said flatly. She was growing more irritable as Heather's racking sobs echoed through the room. "I'm going to speak with Damcho and let him know what happened. Honestly, please don't cry, it won't change anything." With that, Lucy stomped out, grabbing her sturdy walking boots on the way. She traipsed through the greenery, desperately hoping to see Damcho on his way to their dwellings. She wasn't paying attention as she was walking. She was far too angry and impatient. If she looked where she was going, she would have seen stray purple petals on the ground, near a small neat patch of grass where the flowers used to be. Striding along, she thought she heard some rustling in the bushes. She turned and saw nothing. Must be the wind, she thought. Suddenly, a blur of tanned skin came running at her, yelling a garbled language she couldn't understand. She screamed, not knowing why. She knew her screams would do nothing. For the first time in a long time, she was frightened. She rarely felt this way and didn't know what to do. She tried to focus her attention, hoping to find a way of escape. She saw a man dressed in brown robe-like clothing, was pursuing her. He had facial hair and a scar across his cheek. Thud. She was against a tree, powerless to escape. She saw a knife in his hand. Closing her eyes, she willed it to be over quickly. Death. She never imagined this is how she would die. She felt an arm against her throat. Struggling for breath, she thought of all the regrets she had in life, not standing up to her father, not ending her relationship with Rob. Every moment was precious, she knew that now. She screwed up her face in anticipation. Several seconds passed. Why had he not killed her yet? His arm was beginning to ease on her throat too. What was happening? She risked opening one eye. Looking at her attacker, she saw his attention wasn't on her at all. Opening the other eye, she looked around frantically for help or means of a getaway. Her attacker looked terrified, but she couldn't see why. His arm was completely by his side now. She could breathe again. Massaging her throat, she looked around. Something had paralyzed her attacker from fear. Her survival instincts warned her not to run yet, there was more danger lurking. Sure enough, she was right. A tiger slinked into view, muscles flexing powerfully, staring at the man. The tiger was not looking at her at all. This close, she could appreciate how truly beautiful the animal was. Its sleek orange fur was a dark shade of auburn, reminding her of autumnal leaves in England. She saw burly muscular legs that screamed strength and power. She thought the tiger was elegant and graceful, as it paced a circle around her and her attacker. While she whispered softly, this tiger was stunning already, but it had the most incredible eyes she had ever seen. Bright green and perfectly reflective, she became instantly unafraid. Those eyes and shade of green were familiar to her somehow, they reminded her of someone. She just couldn't think whom. She became instantly unafraid, those emerald eyes silently communicating she would be okay. She braved a step towards the tiger, an uncontrollable,
censored,
overpowering her, urging her to stroke soft fur. The tiger stilled as she touched it, enjoying the caress of her palm. The villager took his opportunity to run as fast as he could. The tiger gave chase, knocking the man over with ease. The tiger biffed the man across the cheek, marring the other side of his face. It grabbed the knife with its sharp, pointy white teeth. Leaning over the man, the tiger growled menacingly. It was clear this was a warning. The man looked petrified. Allowing him to stand, the tiger stared, those green eyes burning into the man's soul. He allowed the man to run away. Lucy was now calm, her thoughts becoming more rational. She looked at the tiger once more. She knew from her conversation with Philip this was a Bengal tiger, probably male. She was transfixed on its eyes. Philip. That was who this tiger reminded her. It was those mesmerizing eyes. She felt her body tingle and tremble, instantly vowing to live her life to the fullest. She took a few tentative steps, watching to see if the tiger let her leave, never breaking eye contact. Dazed, she walked in the direction of their base, instantly vowing never to take life for granted again and live life to the full. Back at camp, Damcho had arrived, worried for her safety after hearing about the removal of the flowers. She saw Charlie, Lucas, Kevin, and Heather there with him. She relayed the story to them, leaving out her association with Philip. It sounded silly. Heather burst into rapid sobs once more as Lucy grabbed her towel. Lucy didn't know how she felt or what to think, but she knew she wanted to be alone for a while. Alone or with Philip. He had become her closest friend and ally in camp, and she needed to let him know what happened.
This scene has been censored to provide a safe and enjoyable reading experience for everyone.
Philip was first to break their silence, stroking his hair as he whispered, "That was incredible." Lucy.
Censored.
His cheek, nodding in agreement. She couldn't believe what just happened, and how amazing she now felt. Lucy, I have something to tell you. I've wanted to for some time now, but couldn't find the words. Now this moment it feels right. Lucy tensed, afraid her happiness and pleasure was about to be taken away. When I saw you here, I said I heard what happened. I didn't. I saw it. What? Lucy cried. You could have saved me sooner from that man. Lucy, please. Let me explain. Did anything about that tiger seem familiar to you? Perhaps its eyes? But how do you know that? I didn't tell anyone. Lucy, this is hard for me to say, but I am that tiger. I need you to believe me. My family line is cursed. That is why I'm so well traveled. I've been trying to trace my family back and I've ended up here. I'm not here to study the Mampa people like I said. I'm here to break the curse that turns me into a tiger. Philip crumpled in Lucy's arms. He had never confessed that to anyone before, but he felt a special connection to her. I don't know what to say. I must be crazy, but I believe you. How else would you have known about the eyes? I still don't understand though. Please tell me about the curse. How did you know to come here? I don't know how to explain it. Look at me. Look at my hair, my eyes, and my teeth. I even resemble a tiger when I'm human. All I know is there was a curse on my family centuries ago. I don't know how or why, but I came here to find out. I can turn into a tiger at will. Sometimes there are triggers and I can't prevent it from happening. Today when I heard you scream, I felt one of those triggers. I couldn't help myself. I wanted to protect you so much. I don't want to hurt people. I promise I'm a good person. I don't want to turn into a tiger or feel that urge anymore. I just want to be cured. Philip paused, gathering his thoughts for the next part of his story. It was extremely difficult to trace the curse here. Traditionally, as you know, Mampa people don't carry surnames unless they're royalty or politicians. I have been traveling since I was 18, finally coming here. Luckily, I inherited a lot of money when my mother died. I've never needed to work and can dedicate my time to this fully. I've never told anyone this before. I'm a freak. Lucy was overwhelmed. Today had been incredibly tense and emotional for so many reasons. She looked at Philip in awe and admiration. He had tried to protect her. He cared. Unconsciously, her feelings for him deepened. He was so exciting, so interesting. He was everything that Rob wasn't. Rob. Oh dear. That was definitely over now. Philip, she wanted Philip more than anything. She
Censored.
Him, trying to communicate with her.
Censored.
What her mouth could not say. I'm with you, she wanted him to know. I will help you, I'm not frightened and I think you're incredibly brave. Now she knew it was Philip that had saved her. She was even more attracted to him and his power. Meanwhile, Philip received her message loud and clear. He was grateful she didn't think badly of him, and wanted to show her how grateful. Chapter 4. Lucy and Philip walked back to camp, hand in hand in the dark. They were both happy to have each other, although nervous at how the others would react. As Philip rubbed Lucy's hand with his thumb, they both knew it would all be okay. They spent a lot of time at the lake talking about the curse and how to break it. Lucy discovered the tiger gene, as she called it, was passed through the male line of Philip's family. As his mother was a single parent, and Philip had never known his father, it had been hard for Philip to overcome this first hurdle. She couldn't imagine how terrifying it must have been to find yourself changing species rapidly one day. She pictured Philip as a child, not knowing what was happening to him. She wanted to protect him and help him more than ever, and vowed to do all she could. Before we get back, you never said how you traced it to Bhutan, only that it was difficult. How did you come to be here? Lucy asked. I'm so glad you are, she added rapidly. Philip laughed, feeling as relaxed as he had ever been. The path here was a long and bloody one. The men in my family have all spread out, either tracing the curse themselves or staying away from loved ones in case they hurt them. Every country I visited that one of my relatives had dwelled in, I discovered that a male family member had died. Their secret somehow always discovered, and either sacrificed, butchered in their sleep, or sadly committed suicide. I'd love to break this curse and stop looking over my shoulder all the time, Lucy stopped and hugged him. She was so happy he felt he could talk to her. She wanted to share in return, but her life had none of the hardships his did. Lucy, can I ask you something? Philip said. Sure, what's up? She replied. Why are you so hard on yourself? You're beautiful, funny, and clever. Why do you push yourself so hard? You're perfect the way you are. Anyone would have cried seeing a tiger. You stroked me. You're wonderful. Lucy sighed with happiness. Nobody had ever told her how amazing she was. She found herself falling in love with Philip. She adored everything about him. I always felt I had to. I'm an only child. My father was desperate for a son. My parents decided to have children late in life. Instead of a son, they got me. I always felt I wasn't enough for him or anyone else. I push myself because on some level, I want to earn his approval. I thought I had moved past it, but if you can notice it, perhaps I haven't. Lucy, perhaps this is too early to say, I don't know. But I love you, Philip confessed. It was as if he was reading her mind. There is nothing I do not love about you. I'm so happy we're together. I love you too. You understand me almost as well as I understand myself. At that moment, they shared a
censored
before heading into the camp. Ignoring the stares of everyone there, they went straight into Philip's room, curled up in bed and fell asleep together. From the next morning, Lucy and Philip became a pair, rarely seen apart. Making love each day, looking after each other, they were inseparable. Falling deeper and deeper in love, they roamed all the land they could reach on foot, much to Damcho's disapproval. Lucy wasn't afraid. She knew Philip would protect her as a tiger or as a man. They were both researching the Mampa people with the same objectives now, to find both a reason and cure for the curse. One morning as Philip was bathing, Lucy had an idea. She decided to put it into play without Philip's knowledge, in case it didn't work. She waited patiently for Damcho to appear, and struck up a conversation with him. Morning, Damcho. How is your wife? Good morning, Lucy. It's lovely to see you. She's very well, thank you. How are you? I'm great, thanks. My research has taken a new path. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Not at all, Lucy. Anything I can do to help. What do you need to know? Well, Lucy began. Do the Mampa people have any folk tales? Like fairy tales or stories passed down from generations? It's interesting to listen to how information is spread, don't you think? What kinds of tales are you after, Lucy? I'll try and think of some of the more interesting ones, Damcho offered. He was secretly pleased she wasn't with Philip. He knew she was safe at this moment and wanted to keep her here. Well, I heard an interesting tale about a curse placed on someone by the Mampa people. They turned into animals. The girls were swapping stories and I thought I'd ask you where it came from, Lucy lied. Damcho looked at her suspiciously. He knew she had not spent time with the girls since she and Philip became an item. Still, he had heard the tale. What was the harm in telling her? Yes, I know the story you mean well. Centuries ago, there was a tiny village where everyone helped each other. One family did not share this community spirit. They used to undercut others in trades and grew incredibly selfish. The more money they had, the greedier they became. The villagers resented this greed. They disliked the bad intentions this family had. They were intimidated and upset. They felt like prey. One night, the head male of each family met in secret to hatch a plan to prevent the selfish family from taking over. They placed a curse on the male line. Until they were truly selfless, each male would turn into a tiger, sometimes at will, sometimes uncontrollably. One night, there was a terrible accident. The head of the family killed his wife when he was in tiger form. The family moved away. To this day, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if that family is alive anymore. The village thrived thereafter. It was my village, in fact. Wow. So all Phil, I mean the male, would have to do is to be truly selfless. That is fascinating. How would you do that? Lucy babbled excitedly. Damcho frowned openly. Philip, he demanded. Did you hear this from Philip? Has he descended from here? If he has, he will die, there is no other way. And then no. Lucy stammered. Damcho turned and stormed out. He was proud of his job, but he was more proud of his village. He was furious that Philip was here. He had to tell someone. He was sorry for Lucy, but there was going to be a sacrifice. He didn't know what else to do. Lucy was in a blind panic. She knew that if she did nothing, Philip was going to die. In haste, she left a note for him to find. She had to fix this before it was too late. Packing a small rucksack, she ran in the direction of Damcho's village, completely disregarding her own personal safety. Shortly after Lucy's disappearance, Philip returned to his bed, intending to spend the rest of the morning in it with Lucy. Instead of finding a beautiful girl waiting for him, he found a note. Dear Philip, it read. I've made a terrible mistake. I revealed your identity whilst trying to find more out about the curse. I've gone to sort things out now, stay safe. I'll be back soon. Love, Lucy XXX. Philip was worried. He had no idea where she'd gone or who she'd been speaking to. Thoughts raced through his mind. She wouldn't be this worried if she told Charlie or Kevin. She wouldn't ask them about the curse anyway. It must be a person from the village, someone who spoke English. Damcho. Dressing hurriedly, he too ran towards the village. Lucy made it to the village without incident, and desperately tried to find Damcho. The village was silent. It appeared almost deserted. Perhaps it was too late. Where was Damcho? Looking around for Damcho, she did not hear the silent gathering standing behind her. Quick as a flash, the villagers attacked en masse, covering her head with a cloth and binding her arms and legs together. Lucy didn't even have time to scream. Lucy was terrified. She hoped with all of her heart that Philip wouldn't come looking for her. She wanted him to be safe. This was her fault, her problem, and she would suffer the consequences. She knew for the second time in Bhutan, her life was in danger. This time, however, she was sure she was going to die. This time her regrets were far fewer. Recently, she was the happiest she had ever been. They had removed the cloth covering her head. She could see a pole on a wooden stage. She assumed she would be tied to it, but she wasn't sure of anything else. Lucy. What are you doing here? Damcho cried. He had heard the commotion. He came to the village intending to call a village meeting and share the news about Philip. He had already met with the men. The women must have caught Lucy. I came looking for you. I wanted to stop you from sharing the information about Philip. I love him, Damcho. He's a good man. He doesn't deserve death. I want to save him. Damcho looked worried. Lucy, you shouldn't have come here. I'm scared for you. I'm going to try and change your fate. Damcho, please, I know you're a good man too. What's going to happen to me? I'd like to know. I hate surprises. Well, I don't want to say really. You don't deserve this. I have a horrible feeling they're going to stone you. I'll be back soon, I promise I'll try. Damcho hurried off, worried about the consequences of his actions. Almost as soon as he went, the female villagers came to get Lucy. Knowing her fate, she became immediately terrified, still refusing to scream. She didn't want Philip to risk his life. Tears poured silently down her cheeks. They carried her through the village to the stage and, as Damcho predicted, tied to the pole before an audience. Where was Damcho? Whom was he talking with to try to save her? Meanwhile, Philip was running as fast as he could. Where was she? He hoped she was okay. He didn't know what he'd do without her. She was his soulmate. She completed him. He loved her with every fiber of his being. He hoped Lucy knew how truly special she was. He got to the village in double quick time, also finding it eerily deserted. Philip was suspicious. He knew the Monpa people were sociable. Where were the children playing, the woman chatting and cooking outside? He looked frantically for Lucy. Too nervous to shout her name, he ran around searching for her. He spotted a wooden stage with a pole. Looking on with horror, he saw Lucy being carried to it. Automatically, he took his tiger form. He saw the audience but didn't care. He only wanted to save Lucy. Powerfully pacing, he got to the stage just in time as the rocks started pelting. He would willingly die for the woman he loved. Covering her with his body, rocks hit him from every angle. In agony, he stayed there until he passed out with pain. His final thought was of Lucy and her perfection, before everything went black. Lucy for the first time screamed, "Philip! Philip, that first love you, save yourself." She thought it was too late. She could see consciousness fading in his eyes and he slowly passed out. His form changed before her eyes, the rocks stopped coming and the villagers stood motionless. Was he dead? Damcho ran onto the stage, waving his arms. Lucy couldn't understand what he was saying. He was gesturing wildly and talking in Bhutanese. She began sobbing, crying in desperation for the love she'd lost. Philip was dead, he had to be. He was losing so much blood, and she couldn't even help him. Suddenly, the villagers gasped, and Damcho turned to Lucy. "Lucy, are you okay? Did any stones hit you?" Lucy could only shake her head, crying too much to be able to speak. "Lucy, I think this will be okay. Look at his hair and teeth." Lucy looked down at the man she loved. His auburn hair was now a darker shade of brown, his teeth less pointed and sharp. He was changing, becoming less tiger and more human. She was even more convinced now that he was dead. "Lucy," Damcho began, "I think the curse has broken. Philip tried to save you without hurting anyone. He was willing to die to save your life. I told the villagers what I think happened. They don't want to hurt an innocent, good man. Let me check his pulse." Damcho bent down as Lucy held her breath in hope. "He's alive, Lucy. He's going to be okay. When he comes round, I'll check his eyes. Now let me untie you." Damcho untied Lucy, apologizing for his behavior earlier. He was truly sorry for being responsible for this, though secretly thrilled the curse appeared to be broken. As soon as Lucy was free, she fell upon Philip, sobbing from a mixture of fright and relief. I love you, I love you. Please wake up," she pleaded between sobs. As if he heard her, Philip stirred slightly. He opened his eyes, and Lucy was startled to see they were a dark shade of hazel, no longer emerald green. It was then she knew the curse was truly broken. They were both going to be free together, forever. In the months that followed, Lucy and Philip grew closer than ever. The curse was truly broken, and they were the happiest they had ever been. Lucy found it difficult at first to wake up to hazel eyes, rather than the bright green ones she fell in love with, but she soon adjusted. She had never felt so loved or wanted. She was truly content. Lucy and Philip decided never to return to England, instead choosing to travel the world together until they felt at home. She called her family and told them of her plans. She told her mother she had fallen in love, and her mother seemed genuinely thrilled for her. She was even planning to visit them in Thailand. Rob didn't return her calls. He had met someone the day Lucy left. Lucy was happy for him too. Her life was so perfect it was hard not to be happy. For the first time, Philip felt truly free. Their futures planned and their love was true. Leaning forward, Philip
censored
Lucy, her delight radiating as a sign of things to come. Thank you for reading my book. If you like this story, I think you'll enjoy my book Barely Wolf. A big favor to ask. I would really love it if you could take a few seconds to leave me a review. Thank you so much in advance. About the author. Selina Coffey is a romance writer who lives happily in London with her husband and son. She is a hopeless romantic who grew up always believing in love, and she is not ashamed to admit this. It is this belief that makes her so passionate about writing crazy love stories. A stereotypical girly girl, she loves shopping. So whenever she gets a chance and the spare cash, you will probably find her browsing online for the next pair of shoes to add to her collection. You can find her online at www.selinacoffey.com. Contact her at hello@selinacoffey.com. Closing credits. This has been Tiger-mated. Written by Selina Coffey. Auto-narrated using Google technology. Copyright 2024 by Lovi Books Limited. Production copyright 2024 by Lovi Books Limited.